wanted to take some time to talk about diet and lifestyle and how that affects people in the MS community. When I was a child, I was diagnosed with some mild food allergies or food sensitivities because my stomach hadn't felt well, and when I knew when I ate certain things that I would feel tired or not able to think as well. And after the diagnosis of MS, something that I noticed was a lot of the same food sensitivities would still trigger a lot of the same effects. And I also began to recognize that it would make the MS symptoms significantly more noticeable. And I would feel off for a day or two. And I know in the MS community that there are certain things that are common to have that effect. Dairy is definitely at the top of the list. Eggs, legumes, stuff like that. And interestingly enough, it's all the same things that I was having a more extreme reaction to in my life. So we know that diet has a profound impact on an MS patient and how well they're doing. And back around the time I was diagnosed, I just felt like my body was telling me that I needed to eat more green vegetables. It's that feeling of, well, I just wish that I had more of this in my life. I need more of this stuff. And I did, and it didn't save me from a diagnosis of MS, because obviously it takes a lot more than just that. The medication has a very profound impact on the trajectory of the disease, and you can't downplay that. Well, come to find out, there are other people. I'm talking about Dr. Terry Walls, a brilliant medical professional who has done some groundbreaking work that I think is going to go down in history as one of the things that is most profoundly beneficial to everyone. And just in recent years, I was pointed in the direction of her work and her literature, and I found it very interesting that I had been going through another phase of paying close attention to my body and what it was telling me, and what I needed to be changing to see a better outcome in my life. And everything she said was just right in the same line with what my body had been telling me, and everything that I've been implementing from her work has been like an extension of what my body had already been telling me anyway. Well, in short, eat more vegetables. Eat more vegetables. I just feel better with a higher amount of fiber in my diet. I feel better with a higher amount of nutrient density. So last year I started gardening for the first time in a very long time. And it wasn't a lot, but it was a beginning. I had about 25 square feet of vegetables of various different types. And it was a good thing. It was a great thing. And I felt like it was the beginnings of a new phase of my life, and that I was going to continue down that road and do more. And so I have. This year, instead of 25 square feet, I think it's going to come out to somewhere around 1,400 or 1,500 square feet of vegetables. The great news with that is everything is already plowed. Yesterday, the planting started. There's vegetables in the ground. It's not a whole lot, but it's a beginning. And it's a very important beginning, and it's something I fully intend to continue. Now, there's another branch of medicine right now that's been getting a lot of attention, specifically in the microbiome. And I'm no medical professional, but I have a theory on that. I believe that when science has done its work and we've learned more about it, what we're going to find is that, we already know that the microbiome of an MS patient looks very different from that of a healthy person. And we've tried to force that, through fecal transplant, and it makes all the difference in the world for a week or two after the procedure, and then it goes back to what it was. And my theory on this is that your microbiome is like a garden. And just like any garden, you have to make sure that you have the right nutrients available for the flora that you want to grow. And that's how it is you go about that. And so I'm gardening this year. I'm gardening to grow food for my body, but I'm also looking at it from a standpoint of I'm growing a garden in my own body to try to get the right things growing there that are going to be beneficial for my health. And that starts, growing the garden in my body starts with growing the garden for the food. And another interesting thing that I became aware of through reading the literature from a brilliant man by the name of Elliot Coleman, who did gardening like from the 80s on, and wrote some very good books that have been very influential on everything I've been doing in the garden. The soil itself has a microbiome. And a lot of the practices in agriculture in the last 150 years have been very much that you put poison in the ground to kill off everything you don't want, and put vitamins or nutrients into the ground to let the vegetables soak it up and have nutrients. And I mean, the classic example of that now, I think, is growing tomatoes in Florida, which, if you know anything about growing tomatoes, they grow best in a very arid environment. I think we all know how arid Florida can be, and it's a more extreme version of that, I think. Well, what I want to do is to grow healthy soil, to feed the microbiome of the soil, of the land, let that feed my plants, and let those plants feed me. So it's health, starting 3 feet down in the ground, working its way up through the ground, through the plants, through my diet, and through the lifestyle. Because when you have a garden, that is exercise, that is going out there and getting your hands down in the dirt, down in the microbiome of the soil. And it's compared with the life that I have been living through my career, where I was like cloistered inside a office environment at a desk with heavily affected air, no access to the sunshine. I think that was not conducive to a good outcome for me in my journey. And I'm really hoping that going this route will have a better outcome, that my body will start to respond to the environmental factors, which, by the way, what's inside your gut is an environmental factor. It's not actually inside the blood barrier of your body. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I'll bring this up. You can see behind me here where I have laid out everything that I'm planning on using this year to grow food for myself and for my family. And I know I'll have more content as I work through this. You know, I've learned a lot. I've done this stuff for pretty much my whole lifetime, but I know that this will be a continued learning experience, and not everything I do is going to work perfectly the first time, and that's fine. But yeah, I'll share with you some of the pictures of the process of getting this ready, and a little bit of some of what came out of the 25 square feet last year. So um, thank you for watching this video. I hope it was inspirational at the very least, informative, educational. I hope that you feel inspired to go get your feet wet, get your hands dirty. I know that you can grow this stuff in an urban environment too. I've done a little bit of that, and I know that a lot of groundbreaking work has been done doing that. If you want to like this video, subscribe to my channel. If you feel it was worthy of that, I hope that you will. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.